I get that I look like a mess right now, etc. For lack of a better term, get over it. Anyway, so I just wanted to make a quick video because I have been thinking about what I'm about to say way too deeply. Long story short, a cousin whom, let me put it this way, there's an old saying that with certain friends, you don't need enemies. And there's also another saying, you don't have to like everyone to whom you're related. And let me put it this way. A cousin whom denied that we're related to me, let me back that up. A cousin whom denied that he's related to me, just because he didn't like the fact that we're Jewish and he wanted to, for lack of a better term, obfuscate that for his own reasons. Last night I was doing family research, which as far as I know is not in violation of Shabbat, though it probably would have been in violation of the Shabbat to say anything about it. And I was going to try to save it for my most recent book, although unfortunately because I haven't been selling a lot of books, that's kind of made it hard to write. And like I said, it really isn't about the money for me, but it's nice to know that other people are reading what I write, especially since I like to know that other people are interested in what I'm writing. Anyway, and speaking of being interested and interesting facts, I ended up once again getting a vindication of exactly what I thought. That my cousin, of course, denied being related to me, even though it's well documented. And lo and behold, I found a document that a cousin was born in 1915. He was born in the Luzerne County area. He's deceased as far as I know. So he was born in 1915. And his parents, they were not born in Slovakia. They were born in Poland. And he ended up in Plains, where my great-granddad, Michael Gatiss, was born. And I knew there'd been some kind of connection where great-grandma Gatiss and great-granddad Gatiss must have met somehow. And now it comes up with, Joseph Fosko, born in 1915, and his parents were born in Poland. Lo and behold, exactly what I thought. Sometime in 1755. Even before then, our branch somehow decided to become hidden Jews, and we left the whole Warsaw and Rodham and Łódź Triangle. And now I find this record saying, he was born in Plains, or at least in Luzerne County, and he was residing in Plains, and his parents were born in Poland. So I don't go looking for these things. I didn't even, let me put it this way. When I had been going through a rough time, someone had asked me if I was Jewish, and because I didn't honestly know that I'm Jewish, I had told them that we weren't. And then I found out that we were. And then, of course, one time someone asked me if I was related to Kirk Douglas. I honestly told him that I wasn't because I didn't know. And then I found out, of course, that I somehow am related. I still don't know the connection, but just a family resemblance, finding out that, of course, Danilovich was not a patronymic in his case. And then, of course, finding out about some of Kirk Douglas's behavior. And then also, I'm thinking that Dembski played a little more of a prominent role in our, for lack of a better term, on our side of the family than may have been realized. I've covered that in one of my books. But it wasn't, actually I did write that I thought that maybe Dembski, I don't know if I wrote it, but I do know that maybe there was more of a connection than I thought much earlier. And of course, then I found a record about one of my cousins, how two of his cousins thought they were so slick and they could out him as Jewish, even though he didn't want anything said about it. They would have been witnesses at his naturalization, and they're the only ones who could have known. Now I find this document saying that, a Joseph Fosko was born in Poland. I don't go trying to for lack of better, I don't, forgive my language, I don't just go trying to pull this stuff out of my tuchus, or as it were, out of my ass. It's like I find this stuff, and I mean, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? It's not like I woke up one day and said, oh, I'm going to find out stuff that I didn't expect to find out and that I would have never guessed in my wildest dreams. And then even another one, and I'm not making this up, and knowing that unfortunately my family is a part of this, I found out that, as far as I know, I found out that I'm distantly related to the current leader of Scientology. I was kind of browsing ethnocelebs to see if we're related. I type in the original family name. I look at where David Miscavige had one of his ancestors from. It said Mariana Chernetska Miskiewicz, or however you pronounce the name. It's like I looked up the area, and then I looked up, because I used Genetica, which is a Polish genealogy website. I look up, she's in the same area. It's like, forgive my language and forgive my use of the Lord's name in vain, but it really was like, forgive my language, and like I said, forgive my use of the Lord's name in vain, but it was really like, oh my God. Because it's like, boy, if I got the, for lack of a better term, genetic lottery, honestly, I got some of the worst relatives on the planet. And I understand many of our family dynamics were based on coping mechanisms that we adopted because of our situation in Russia-occupied Poland and in Hungarian and Austrian-occupied Hungary and other places. It's like at the same time, it's not just, oh, Kirk Douglas raped Natalie Wood and kind of pushed Gene Spengler to get an abortion, and that David Miscavige leads Scientology. It's knowing that, for lack of a better term, and forgive my language, many in my family, for lack of a better term, just fucked up a lot because we couldn't deal with some of the issues which we were experiencing. This isn't to say that I did not get good relatives, because I did get good relatives. And in fact, many absolutely took stands that they did not have to take. I even think about my great-uncle Jim of blessed memory, at a time when, long story short, his son very early on had some issues. My great-uncle Jim could have easily put him in an institution, and this was before Willowbrook was exposed. My great-uncle Jim said, you know what, I'm not going to put him in an institution. And before he passed away, he made sure that his son would have everything that he needed. And I'm not going to go into much detail further than that. But as I mentioned before, the reason I go into that is because just on my side of the family, I remember my great-great-uncle Jim, my great-grandmother and my great-uncle Jim, when my sister and I had to go up to my dad's house for the weekends, all that whatnot, well, every other weekend, and then sometimes we go up and visit my great-grandma in Wilkes-Barre, etc. So when we were up there, of the family members, I remember very distinctly my great-grandmother and my great-uncle Jim treated me and great-uncle Jim's son like we were full members of the family. So yeah, even though I got a lot of bad relatives, I also got a lot of good relatives. And one of the good relatives with whom my family ended up being blessed was a pre-Willowbrook hero. And so for all the bad, I did end up getting a lot of good. Though what bad I got, while the bad doesn't take away the good doesn't take away the bad. And it's part of why too, when I see these records that vindicate exactly what I was saying, what I was saying or what I was figuring out or whatever, it's not like, for lack of a better term, and forgive my language, I'm not just being a spiteful bitch. It's, I wouldn't have originally figured out these things. And now I'm seeing them. And for lack of a better term, it's like, if I don't speak out, if I keep the silences that were not supposed to be kept, then when there were sins, when there were other things that should not have been, then I become complicit in what should not have been. And that's also part of why I speak out on a lot of the family stuff, because like, I don't want to give, for example, the power to the kinds of anti-Semites whom persecuted great-granddad and drove him to his death. It's like, I couldn't have made it up that that's what happened to great-granddad. I didn't realize that depression and PTSD killed him. I didn't realize what the Romanovs had done. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew the Romanovs were bad, but to know that, just, you can't always put everything into words about it because you could go on for too long. But the point is this: I speak up so that when my family suffered, will never again be suffered by anybody else. And so that my family does not end up perpetuating toxic family dynamics. And so that the heroes within my family, like Grand Uncle Jim, can be honored.